Hey cousins, welcome to Brown Liquor and Bad Ideas.
Welcome, cousins, to this episode of Brown Liquor and Bad Ideas. I'm your host and people's lobbyist, Cornell Wright. Welcome. Join me for a quick one, and let's talk one more time again about COVID-19. Brown Liquor and Bad Ideas is intended for the participation of responsible adults of legal drinking age who wish to engage in substantive virtual discussions and social drinking for entertainment purposes only. Brown Liquor and Bad Ideas does not advocate the abuse of alcoholic beverages. Choosing to participate in any of the drinking activities shared in the program should be made with moderation and caution and is the sole responsibility of the user. So cousins, I open up this episode with my mask on because once again, masking has to be what we do. So cousins, let's just go back and look at this whole thing. And I'm reminded of the Pogo cartoon. Perhaps you remember Pogo cartoon? It was done by Walt Kelly. Great cartoonist. I enjoyed Pogo cartoons over time. In 1970, he did a cartoon in honor and celebration of Earth Day, in which his comment and commentary Pogo said, "We have met the enemy and he is us." Now, cousins, COVID-19 is here. We know it's here, right? Is anyone denying that COVID-19 is here and that COVID-19 is real? I certainly hope not. COVID-19 at this point in time has killed over 600,000 cousins in the United States of America. And we are leading the world in regards to having vaccinations and having all the capabilities in order to suppress and fight COVID, perhaps more and better than anybody else in the world. And why have we lost 600,000 plus cousins? There's been millions of other cousins who have also been infected by the disease, some of whom are going to have long-term repercussions because of the damage done to their bodies by the COVID-19 virus. Cousins, this doesn't make any sense to me, okay? Because early on, let's go back last year, right? Remember last year? We were getting all this information, and when COVID first came out, it was really scary, and we didn't know a whole lot about it. And so our infectious disease people, i.e. our scientists, the medical doctors, the professionals, public health officials, CDC, and those people, they gave us the best recommendations they could at the time. They said to wear a mask, be socially distanced, wash your hands, those types of things that are appropriate for what? An airborne disease that's transmitted from one person to another, which is what COVID-19 did and does. So what happened, cousins? We fought that fight. Now, as you recall, let's go back in time, not too far back. We all can remember last year, at first, and it always was a question of being the science. What is the science associated with this? Then, cousins, according to my look at the biology, according to my look at it, it got caught up into a little bit of ego. And then, cousins, it got kind of caught up into, well, gee, if we can't do certain activities out, restaurants and golf clubs and hotels and cruises and those kind of things, that's going to impact our society. And so maybe we don't want to have the numbers show those things. When in fact, cousins, we know I look back on that was absolutely the wrong approach, right? Wasn't that a bad idea, cousins? We went through a series of testing. We couldn't get tested. Now everyone can get tested before you go to a concert, as I described a couple episodes ago. That's great for us. Now, but let's think about this, cousins. Once again, let's go back to Pogo. We have met the enemy and he is us. Now, we all know a couple months ago, the CDC came out and said that those of you who have been fully vaccinated can resume other activities, right? All of a sudden, because now we knew that wasn't over 50% of the population had been vaccinated at that time, but guess what? Nearly 100% of the people got rid of their masks. Cousin, that was a bad idea. Now, the CDC told us the truth at the time, but cousins, I'm old enough to have been around during the AIDS epidemic. And one of the precautions they told you during AIDS is for those of you who were engaged to wear a condom to minimize the exposure, the spread of that terrible disease. I know for a fact, not me, but I know for a fact there were a lot of cousins out there who did not use a condom and said that they had in those sort of activities. So you're gonna think if you're not gonna use a condom and you're gonna tell me everybody who didn't have on a mask, oh yeah, everybody's vaccinated? No, cousins, we didn't check everybody at the door, did we? Of course not. So cousins, so then it's gotten to the point now it's become political in regards to who and what your freedoms are. Well, cousins, I'm also old enough to remember that before your kid could go to school back in the day, they had to get a measles shot, they have a smallpox shot, they had to get other shots in order to prove their vaccination record before they could go to school. Why? Because it wasn't about science, it wasn't about rights, it was about everybody in the country, we the people, being in the best position to be able to fight this thing. Once again, cousins, we have met the enemy and he is us. Come on. So now, cousins, where are we? Here we are in going late summer 2021, all right? There is a resurgence there was a Delta virus variant, if you will, of COVID-19. And I understand from hearing and talking to so many people I hear that there's a new thing called Lambda, which is more. Now, cousins, let me take you back to my, 10th grade biology class, all right? And my 10th grade biology class said that there's such a thing known as mutations, and that you can have certain items, certain humans, certain living things that will mutate over time to what? Continue living. That was the whole idea, cousins, about the concept of herd immunity, that if you got everyone with enough vaccinations and you had people with enough, who had contracted COVID-19 and hopefully had built up immunity to COVID-19, we would then be in a position that if a case cropped up that was a new variation or a variation, as I said, we'd be able to come in, suppress it, i.e. take care of that cousin, take care of the cousins who were around them so it wouldn't spread and continue moving into the larger community, right? That's the whole idea. Because think about it, go back to my biology class, we are the hosts of the COVID-19. We carry it. Sometimes we know we have it, sometimes we don't know we have it. In fact, most of the times we don't know we have it until we're tested and know, right? You don't know. So now that starts to say then, cousins, that this thing is evolving and mutating within what, a 12 to 14 month window? It's coming in, it supposedly is more capable, stronger. So one variant, the Delta variant, it had other capabilities, and now there's this new variant coming out. I think it's called Lambda. Don't hold me to that. It's something else like that. But it's a continuing mutation of COVID. Why? Because when we had it, that we could suppress the disease with the vaccines we had it, with masks that we have, and with the other social distancing, we didn't do it. Cousins, we didn't do it. Okay? Not to call out my motorcycling cousins, but let's think about it. Last year, in 2020, they had their usual, maybe not as big as, motorcycle ride in Sturgis. You notice shortly after that, there was outbreaks of COVID-19 in all parts of the country who hadn't previously had COVID-19. Come on, cousins, that's almost a straight line. No one's called it that, but let me say that's a bad idea, and somebody refute that if you can. We're 2021. What happened? The good motorcycle riding buddies went back again. Now, from the videos, we see everybody having a good time, drinking beer. Kind of hard to drink a beer with a mask on. And so we're going to have a repeat. I'd put money on that, wouldn't you, cousins? So now we think about this. So here we are. What are the choices that we have, cousins? We can continue this cycle, and I would contend it is going to be a cycle in which we either mask or non-mask. Then there's people going to be talking about our liberties and our freedoms. And then your liberties and your freedoms are going to impact me because I don't want to get the variant from you because you may not even know you're carrying it. You might be one of the lucky ones that doesn't really get sick as a result of contracting COVID, regardless of the mutations. And then again, you might be one of those unfortunate 600,000 cousins who contracts it, and now you need to be on a respirator. Why, cousins? Because you didn't want to wear a mask. okay? Because people are letting you believe that it's not real. They're letting you believe the vaccine isn't helping. Yes, the vaccine is helping. It's helping everyone who takes it. All right? And so people have to make the right choices. You still have the freedoms to make the right decisions. And as a buddy of mine, Bill Gallant, once said a number of years ago, rules are made for when brains run out. You got me on that, cousins? Rules are made for when brains run out. A mandate is a rule. If we all said, hey, I could care enough about you that I'm willing to wear a mask when I'm out and around you, is it impacting me? No. These things weigh almost nothing. They get some that are very decorative. In fact, I'm going to get some here on Brown Liquor and Bad Ideas. You can order some from me, okay? Since I've been talking about them for the last year and a half almost. So cousins, wear your masks. Because if not, the enemy, we've met the enemy and he is us. Here's my apocalyptic bad news scenario. We know, going back to my biology class, that COVID-19 has been with us since last year. It's mutated once and perhaps even a second variation. If it continues mutating, that was going to start to impact probably, maybe, how effective the vaccine is. Then there have to be another vaccine or a booster, something along those lines. You right, cousins? And so let's suppose that some other variant of COVID-19 comes out and it's more deadly and more contractable than the earlier variants, because that's what it's going to try to do. All of a sudden, it starts to say, cousins, that if you're not vaccinated, whoa, we got to keep a long ways away from each other. And once you start to get to those points, cousins, then mandates and personal freedom start to come into play. And you and I will be having to make a decision about that. And your freedoms and my freedom, your freedom will be to wear a mask and to protect your other cousins. Not to go around saying it doesn't exist. You with me, cousins? Come on, keep wearing your mask. I care about you. I need you to care about me. And together we can beat this, because you notice how this is overshadowing everything else we need to get done? We still need to take care of ourselves. The mask is the way to do it. Get the vaccines. And I'll see you next time on Brown Liquor and Bad Ideas.
We are the people. Welcome to the show. Here we go again. Hey, cousin.